Alright, hello boys and girls, welcome to Homeschool Academy. This is going to be week number 4 of grade 4 science and technology curriculum from Homeschool Academy. Great. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about rocks. Okay, so this is going to be the first part of our conversation about rocks. Okay, how many people have seen rocks before? Well, you may not have seen a huge rock before, but if you've seen a stone, well, a stone is going to be achieved from a rock, okay? You've seen a stone like this before, or maybe you've seen a stone like this before. Well, there are different types of rocks. We're going to be talking about that. So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to know what rocks are, the different types of rocks that occur in nature, and uses of rocks potentially. So what are rocks? A rock is a naturally occurring solid mass or an aggregate of minerals, matter. Okay, so it's something that occurs through a natural process. So lots of times, rocks are formed by semi-solid materials called magma. All right, can somebody say that with me? Say magma. Okay, magma. All right, so magma is something that erupts from the Earth's crust onto the surface of the Earth. So hopefully you haven't witnessed volcanic eruptions before, or some kind of eruptions. It's just some kind of magma that shoots out from the ground all of a sudden. You're going to see that liquid magma coming out of the ground, and when it cools down, it forms something really hard. Well, we call those things rocks. And there are 3 major categories of rocks. There are igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and then next week we're going to be talking about another type of rocks. But for this week, we're going to be talking about just these 2 types of rocks. So the first category of rocks is going to be what we call igneous. Okay, somebody say that with me. Igneous. Okay, igneous rocks. And these are formed when magma cools in the Earth's crust, or when lava, so it's another way to call it is called lava. Lava cools on the ground surface or the seabed, because there are rocks actually in the ocean as well. There may be rocks over there. But anytime this thing called magma or lava cools, it comes right from the Earth's crust. It cools, it can form a rock. And when a rock is formed like this, it's going to be called an igneous rock. Okay, so please don't forget that. And I have a picture of an igneous rock for you over here. Igneous rock is going to look pretty much like that. It may be light or dark, but it is usually very hard. And the shape can be irregular, but it is smooth. You can see this rock is going to be smooth over there. And potentially a little bit shiny. And it's going to have some fine mineral particles and other qualities that you may find. You're not going to find like plants or animals remains in it. And water cannot pass through igneous rocks. They do not occur in layers, and wind or water cannot easily wear them out. So you throw water at it, you throw wind blows on it, it's not going to just disintegrate. All right. So an example is going to be something like granite and basalts or gabbro. Okay, so those are different kinds of igneous rocks. All right. What about another one? Another type of rocks is going to be sedimentary rocks. Okay, so sedimentary rocks, those are going to be formed by weathering and transportation of existing rocks, plants, and animal particles to other parts of the earth. These particles get cemented over time to form sedimentary rocks. So look at this kind of rock. Can you tell that this one is going to be a little bit different from this one over here? I bet you can tell. So you can tell that this one is going to be a mixture of different kinds of plants, animal particles, even potentially maybe other rock particles that the wind carries over time. And then it gets compounded and pressured together to form a sedimentary rock. So what are the qualities of a sedimentary rock? Well, the colors are usually dark or light or a mixture of colors, but they're not very hard. They're not as hard as igneous rocks. And the shape can be rough, but it's usually very coarse. It's not going to be as smooth as igneous rocks. The appearance is going to be dull, and the composition is going to be, well, it's made of plants, plant articles, plant particles and animal particles. They occur in layers, so you are going to see a layer of a sedimentary rock, another layer on top of that. And they're not as shiny as igneous. You can tell that this one is not as shiny as igneous rocks, right? They can be easily washed away by water or by wind, and they contain dead plants and animals. And examples of those kind of rocks are going to be sandstone, clay, coal, potash, and all those kind of rocks. So what are rocks? So rocks are, well, guess what? You have the definition over here. Rocks are naturally occurring solid mass. So naturally occurring solid mass. Okay. So they can be formed. How are they formed? They can be formed when molten magma or lava cools, okay, or when wind or water washes plants, animals, even some rocks to form sedimentary rocks. And you're welcome to use your own words. You don't have to use my words in here. I'm just trying to help you to study. Okay, so based on what we talked about today, answer these questions to the best of your ability. All right, what are the two types of rocks that you learned about today? Well, we learned about igneous rocks and sedimentary rocks. All right, so those are the two types of rocks that we learned about today. All right, so let's try to document it one more time for ourselves. So types, okay, types of rocks. What are the types of rocks again? Number one, don't forget it, igneous. All right, somebody write that, write it down like that, igneous. Okay, all right, it's just like that, igneous. All right, then number two, what else did you learn about rocks today? Sedimentary. All right, so sedimentary. Okay, it may be easier for you to type if you have a computer, but if not, you're writing down. You're welcome just to write it like that. Types of, don't forget, types of rocks. Okay, so we talked about rocks today, and we talked about two major types of rocks: igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks over there. All right, boys and girls, thank you for joining me today. Did you get something from it? So please go ahead and turn to page number 13 of your workbook to complete those exercises so you can retain this content a little bit better. Remember, God cares about you, and so do we. Until next time, bye-bye.
I'll be your hero's buddy, and as you study with heroes born, I will be your friend. So don't you